Okay, so, we had a little trouble homework, and it's understandable, this is unfamiliar, but look back at the videos, you see we kind of covered this. Just that I threw something a little more complicated in here. Not much more, just a little more, okay? Well, you have the same expression here as here. When I put this up and asked, somebody that said they were confused told me, well, you just subtract the exponents. So you weren't confused, you were just confused. Okay?
Okay.
You weren't confused by the form of it because you know exactly what the law of exponents is, right?
Right.
This equals to the 5/2 minus 3/2 by the law of exponents that you obviously know, right? So it's just that there was stuff in here and you recognized it was the same stuff.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
But you still didn't know what to do because you thought maybe you were going to have to do something besides the laws of exponents. Maybe you weren't. But that doesn't stop you from applying the laws of exponents, right?
Right.
Okay? So that equals whatever's in here to the first power, which just equals whatever's in here, right? Okay?
All right.
So, it doesn't matter what's in here. So, I'm going to use my favorite variable. We put an aardvark in here. Just to make a point. You're not sure what in the world to do with that aardvark. But whatever you're supposed to do with it, you're going to get an aardvark at the end, right?
Right.
So it's just telling you that you're going to get an aardvark. You know how to feed it?
I don't.
Throw a lot of ants.
Okay.
Okay, so anyhow, that makes sense?
Yeah.
Now, if it was aardvark to the 5/2 over anthill to the 5/2 to the 3/2, you wouldn't be able to do that because you'd have different things here, right? Okay? But we could do something with that. And since I'm on the topic, I'm going to do it. Okay, now we're going to go to the same expression and see if you can think of what we would do if we had this. Because really all we're doing is we're learning the rules of a game and learning how to play the game, which is the game being apply the laws of exponents, right? To get something that makes sense. And of course, part of the game is understanding why the laws are what they are. But you can actually play the game without understanding. So we've got aardvark over anthill. That picture there, there's an anthill, there's an aardvark, right?
Right.
Okay? Later on in the pre-calculus course, you'll understand what that picture says.
Okay.
It's an inverse function. Okay? But right now, you don't need to. One of my students sat right there, and she was always inspired. She's an artist, a good artist, obviously. So she drew that.
Okay.
It's pretty clever. So I kind of like it. I mean, I really like it. Okay. So you got aardvark to the 5/2 over anthill to the 3/2, right?
Right.
Anything you can do with that? You can't subtract exponents because they're different expressions. The law says if you got a over b, a to an exponent over a to another exponent, then you subtract the exponents, right?
Right.
Okay? Well, it's the same expression, numerator and denominator, so you can't do that. So any idea what you might be able to do? You haven't seen this, so I'm going to tell you here real quick. Go ahead, Cody. What do you think?
Could you do what's in the parentheses and then divide top and bottom?
Well, you can't do what's in the parentheses because you have no idea what to do with aardvarks and anthills, right?
Right.
Okay? But if there was something in parentheses you could do that with, then you would want to simplify in the parentheses and see if maybe you get something you can use, right? So it's a good idea. It just isn't going to work with aardvarks and anthills. We have no idea how to handle these things algebraically, at least how to handle whatever's inside of these variables, right? Okay? But here's what we can do. I'm going to observe that aardvark to the 5/2 is aardvark to the 3/2 times aardvark. Didn't leave myself a lot of room there. Okay? Because of course aardvark is aardvark to the 1, right?
Right.
So aardvark to the 3/2 times aardvark is aardvark to the 3/2 plus 1, right? Well, what's 3/2 plus 1? It's 5/2. Okay?
Okay.
And we could even say, to make it even clearer, it's aardvark to the 3/2 times aardvark to the 2/2. Because 3/2, this means aardvark to the 3/2 plus 2/2, right? By another law of exponents that you certainly know. Okay? Now, that's over anthill to the 3/2, right? Does that suggest anything to you?
So with the different expressions, you times the top one by itself, raise the first power?
You could, but that would get you back here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you did this times this, you'd get this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we wrote this for a reason, so we don't want to go back to where we started from.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see what the reason is, so it'd make perfect sense to go back where we started from, right?
I guess so.
But, what we can do here, isn't that equal to aardvark over anthill to the 3/2 power times aardvark, which doesn't need to be in parentheses, but we'll put it in parentheses. I mean, don't you have this over this to the 3/2 over this to the 3/2 is this over this to the 3/2, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay? So we can write the whole fraction to the 3/2. Of course, we still got this aardvark to the 2/2 up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I took the liberty of writing that as just aardvark, because 2/2 is 1, and aardvark to the first power is just aardvark, right? That makes sense?
Yeah.
So just another trick that comes up spontaneously with this question, okay? But I thought this would be a good time to show you that. There's a whole variety of things you can do with the laws of exponents, and it's good to be able to do as many of them as possible. Okay?